सदाशिवसमारम्भाम् शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम्
शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम्
अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम्
वन्दे
परम्पराम्
गुरुपरम्परा।
ॐ
ॐ
सहनाववतु
सहनाववतु सहनौ
सहनौभुनक्तु
भुनक्तु
सह
सह
वीर्यम्
वीर्यं
करवावहै
करवावहै
यस्मिन्नावधीतमस्तु
तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा
विद्महे
विद्विषावहै। ॐ
शान्ति
शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
Om Tat Sat, Om Namah Shivaya. So we are on the first adhyaya, the first chapter. We have finished the first and second sections. Prathama and Vidya Khanda we have finished. Now we are on the Tritiya Khandaha, the third division, third section. And in this section, there are five different types of upasanas. And you will find that most of them are Adidavika upasanas. So, Atha Adidaivatam, it says, the first mantra itself. First will come the Adidavika upasanas. You will remember that in the next last section it was Adhyatma upasanas. But here, this Adi Daiva upasanas are also mixed with Adhyatma upasanas. So, occasionally you will find that even though the first mantra says Atha Adi Daivatam, you will find there are also some Adhyatma upasanas. So, let us look at the first mantra, first chapter, third section, first mantra we will chant. Athadiदैवतं य एवासो तपति
अधादिदैवतं य एवासो तपति
तम् उद्गीतमुपासीत
तमुद्गीतमुपासीत
बुद्ध्यन्वा एष प्रजाभ्यः उद्गायति
वा एष प्रज्ञाभ्य उद्गायते
बुद्ध्यं स्तमो भयमुपहन्ति अवै भयस्य तमसो भवति
वै भयस्य तमसो भवति
य एवं वेद.
य एवं वेद।
So this is a Surya Devata Upasana, invocation of Surya Devata on the Udgita. And we see that between Surya and Udgita, Udgita, remember, is Omkara in the Samaveda. What is the speciality of Omkara in Samaveda?
It's sung in a high pitch.
Sung in a high pitch, right? So rising, and that should give you the clue. What is the similarity between Surya and Udgita? Surya has Udaya, it rises. The Samaveda, Omkara, that is Udgita, also rises. The pitch rises. So both rise. That is the first common feature. The second feature is that Surya gives energy, rains, crops, etc. So it brings prosperity. Udgita also brings prosperity because of the Omkara mantra. And Surya dispels fear. How? It dispels the very source of fear, which is darkness and evil forces. And therefore, while driving, walking, we need light. And therefore, Surya dispels fear. Similarly, Udgita also dispels fear by purifying the mind, leading to Atmajnana, and destroys fear in that manner. So, the man who meditates on Udgita by invoking Surya on it gets the same benefit. That wise man also does not have any fear. What is the phalam, therefore? Removal of fear. So this in short is the explanation of the first mantra. We are not going into the words, but you can see here, Havai bhayasya tamaso bhavati evam veda. It removes the fear itself. That is a phalam. Now we go to the second upasana. With this, the first upasana, that is Udgita upasana by invoking Surya Devata, is over. The next mantra talks about another upasana. We will read. Samana uevayam cho asau.
Samanam Vevayam Chosau
Ushna ayum ushnaha.
Ushvayam Ushna
Aso swara iti imam achakshate.
Sau
Swara iti
Swaramam
achakshate.
Achate
Swara iti pratyaswara.
Swara iti
Iti
Pratyaswara
pratyaswara.
Ityamam tasmat va etat imam umam cha udgitam upasita.
Ityamum Tasmatva
Tasmadva etam
Etamum
sumam
Udgitam
udgitam vasita.
Etam, etam imam umam
Imam.
cha udgitam upasita. So what is happening here is, it is a mixture of Adidaiva and Adhyatma Upasana, because Surya Devata and Prana are mixed together. So Surya is what? Adidaiva. Prana is Adhyatma, because it is found in the individual. And why mix Surya and Prana? So that reason is given in the mantra. Asaucha Ushnaha. I am Ushnaha. Asaucha Ushnaha. That Surya Devata is Ushnaha. What is Ushnaha?
What?
Heat, warmth. Right? So Asaucha Ushnaha. That Asau refers to Surya Devata. Surya Devata is Ushnaha. I am Ushnaha. I am means this in my body. The prana is also Ushnaha, is also heat and warmth. So just as the Surya Devata is responsible for giving heat and warmth to the universe, Prana Shakti gives heat to your body itself. So life itself is because of the warmth given by Prana Shakti. Then that is one part of it. What is the other? Asau Swara Iti. Right? So Swara here doesn't mean the Swara of music or sound. Swara is from the if you look at the Dhatu Pata, you will find Swarati is equal to Gachati, which means it goes. So Swara means goes. Asa Swara Iti. After some time, it goes. Right? Both go. Surya goes and Prana also goes. But it makes a differentiation here. Pratyaswaraha. In the case of Surya Devata, after going, it also comes back. What does that mean?
It rises again.
It rises
Setting
again,
and rising.
setting and rising. However, in the case of prana, once it leaves the body, it does not come back, and therefore Surya is swara and pratyaswara. Surya goes and pratyaswara comes back. However, in the case prana, pratyaswara is not there. It is only swara. It goes only. It doesn't come back. So does it mean that there's no rebirth? No, it doesn't mean. It doesn't come back to the same physical body. The physical body, once dead, is dead. And therefore, because of these common features, so they says that Surya and Prana can be mixed together and the Upasana can be done. Now, if you look at the mantra, you'll see that it just says Udgitam Upasita. You have to meditate on this particular Udgitaha after invoking Surya and Prana. But it doesn't give a phalam at all. This mantra doesn't give a phalam. Shankara Bhashyam also does not give a phalam, strangely enough. And when phalam is not given anywhere else, what will you look at? Yatha upasana, tatha phalam. That is a rule. As the upasana is, so is the phalam. And if you look at it, meditating on prana, what should be the phalam? What does prana do?
Life, health.
Prana gives life. Therefore, if you meditate on prana, the phalam is that
Well-being.
Well-being will be there, and you'll have a long life also. Okay, so that's what it means. So that is the second mantra. As you can see, we are progressing very fast because in accordance with your own instructions, we are avoiding what? We are avoiding the word meanings. Now we look at the mantra from 3 to 5. Okay, 3 mantras. Because these 3 mantras together gives one more upasana. Mantra number 1 was one upasana. Mantra number 2 was another upasana. 3 to 5 together is one more upasana. So we will read. अथ खलु व्यानमेव
अथ खलु
खलु
ज्ञानमेव
उत्गीतमुपासीत
इथ
गीतमुपासीत
ईथमुपासित
यद्वै प्राणीति स प्राणो
यद्वै
वै
प्राणीति स
प्राणिति
प्राणो
यदपानीति सोपानः
यदपानीति
पानीति
सोपानः
सोपानः
अथ अथ यः प्राणापानयोः सन्धिः
अथ यः प्राणापानयोः सन्धिः
स व्यानो यो व्यानः
सह व्यानो यो व्यानः
अवाक्
तावाक
तस्मात् अप्राणान् अपानन् वाचम्
तस्मात् प्राणन् अपानन् वाच
अभिव्याहरति
अभिव्याहरति
यावाक्सर्क्
यावाक्
यावाक्
तस्मात् अप्राणन् अनपानन्
तस्मात् प्राणन् अनपानन्
ऋचम् अभिव्याहरति
ऋचमभिव्याहरति
या ऋक् तत्साम
यारक्तसाम
तस्मात् प्राणन् अनपानन्
तस्मात् प्राणन्
सामगायति
सामगायति
यत्सामस उद्गीत
यत् सामस उद्गीत
तस्मात् अप्राणन् अनपानन् उद्गायति
तस्मात् प्राणन् अनपानन् उद्गायति
अतो यानि अन्यानि
अथो यानि अनयानि
वीर्यवन्ति कर्माणि
वीर्यवन्ति कर्माणि
यथाग्निर्मन्थनमाजेः शरणं दृढस्य धनुषः
शरणं दृढस्य धनुषः
आयमनम् अप्रान् अनपानम्
आयमनं प्राणन् अनपानम्
तानि करोति एतस्य हेतोः
तानि करोति एतस्य हेतोः
व्यानम् उद्गीतमुपासीत
उद्गीतम् उपासित
Many of you guys I observe have simply given up, That's not correct. You should make the effort to chant. Because without chanting, you won't even know the words. So do make an effort to chant. Anyway, so these 3 mantras, they give the third upasana. And if you look at the first mantra, you will know what is this upasana. What should be the upasana? Atha, khalu, what?
Dhyanam.
Dhyanam.
Vyanam. What is Vyanam?
That's out to one of the Panchapranas.
One
The
of
one
the
that
pranas.
pervades the whole body.
Okay, this is one of the pranas. Therefore, the Vyana upasana, Vyana prana upasana. Now, this Vyana, the specific prana called Vyana, that is Vyana Shakti, is to be invoked on Udgitam. Right? Remember, whenever we say Udgita, it is the Omkara of the Samaveda. Right? When you simply say Omkara, it belongs to which Veda?
Rig.
Rig Veda. Okay. So, Udgita, the Omkara of the Samaveda, we are talking only about that because this Upanishad belongs to Samaveda. So, Vyana Shakti is to be invoked on the Udgita and then Upasana is to be done. Okay. We know the definition of prana. Prak Gamanavan Vayuhu. What does it mean? Prak Gamanavan Vayuhu.
Gamanavan means going of the air.
Yeah. Gamanavan Vayu, air which goes.
Goes is what is Prak is pure. Or
No,
Praka
Prak
is Purva.
upwards. Upwards. So Prak Gamanavan Vayu, that air which is going in the upward direction, that is called prana. Remember, this is absolutely opposite to your normal Yoga Shastra definition of prana and apana. That is why I'm repeating again and again. Wherever you talk about prana here, it is prak gamanavan vayu, the exhalation, carbon dioxide. Okay. And apana is adho gamanavan vayu. Adho means downwards. The vayu which goes downwards is which means the inhalation, which means the oxygen. That is apana. I hope that's clear, right? Now the mantra says what? Prana panayoho sandhi, which is what? What is sandhi?
joining,
Joining.
joining
Or
them.
The
meeting a
join,
point.
the link, the meeting point. So prana panayo sandhi sa vyanaha. Vyana is the meeting point, the link between the prana and the apana. So in Yoga Shastra language, what would it mean? What is this Vyana referred to in Yoga Shastra language? Remember that prana is the upward going vayu. Yoga Shastra calls it what? What is the term in
Udana.
Yoga Shastra?
Udana.
Rechak, Rechaka,
Oh, yeah, sorry.
right? And apana is the downward going vayu. Yoga Shastra calls it what? Purak,
Puraka.
Kumbhaka.
right? So inhalation and exhalation, Puraka and Rechaka. Where do they meet?
In Kumbhaka.
In Kumbhaka. Okay, so Vyana refers to the Kumbhaka of Yoga Shastra. So prana, I mean, it's not relevant for this. But since we are all, yogis also, hopefully, this is also important. Okay, so prana panayo sandhi sa vyanaha. Vyana is the link between prana and apana. In Yoga Shastra language, Kumbhaka is the link between Puraka and Rechaka. And what is the use of that Vyanaha? Yo Vyanaha Savaku. That Vyanaha is responsible for Vakindriyams, functioning, speech, right? And therefore, any Vedic chanting, any chanting for that matter, not just Vedic, any chanting is possible only because of Jnana Shakti, especially Udgita chanting, where the tone is very, very high. It's possible only because of Jnana Shakti. Of course, you can extend any activity, not just speech. Any activity is possible only because of Jnana Shakti. Okay, now in this mantra, some examples are being given. Agni Manthanam. What is Agni Manthanam?
It is creating fire by friction force between two pieces of wood for yajna.
Creating fire by using two pieces of wood, right? What do you use to create the fire? Use the hand. So Agni Mantana means the activity of the hand is possible only if Vyana Shakti is there. Okay, that is one example. Then it says Ajehe Saranam. Saranam means a race, racing, okay, running. Ajehe means a limit. So we have, for example, 200-meter dash, 500-meter race. We all say all those things, right? 1 kilometer dash. So that Ajehe refers to the limit. So again here, if you translate the whole thing, winning a race requires which limb?
Legs.
Legs.
Legs. So Agni Manthanam refers to the activity of the hand. Ajehe Saranam refers to the activity of the leg. Both these are possible only if appropriate Vyana Shakti is there. And Dhanusha Ayamanam. Ayamanam is stringing the bow. You have to bend the bow and put the string, right? That's how bows are. Basically, it's not that it's always strung. When the activity is over, take out the string so that the thing doesn't go into a permanent bend. So Dhanusha Ayamanam, stringing a bow. It also requires Vyana. Why?
You need strength to make that effort.
You need strength to be there. When to bend the bow, what do you first do? You take a deep breath and then you do that, right? So you need to breathe in and then hold it. Again, Vyanaha, activity of the breathing as well as the hand activity in this case. And then the Upanishad makes a very nice statement. Tasmat apranam apanam vacham abhivyaharati. Right? Therefore, apranam, when you are not inhaling, prana is exhalation. When you're not exhaling, apranam, when you're not exhaling, apanan, when you're not inhaling, vacham abhivyaharati. One can speak words. It's a very subtle little statement. You can speak. Whenever you're speaking, you are neither inhaling nor exhaling. You can pronounce words only when neither of those activities are present. Do you agree?
Yes.
Therefore, at the time of speaking, a person can neither inhale nor exhale. It's a statement made in the particular mantra. What is the phalam? Again, not mentioned. Therefore, good Vyana Shakti, which is what do you need Vyana Shakti for? For doing anything. For doing any karma, Vaidika or Laukika, you need Vyana Shakti. Okay. So, third Upasana is over. Now we look at mantra number 6 and 7. Right? This is another Upasana. So, we will chant. अथ खलु उद्गीताक्षराणि
अथ
अथ
खलु
खलु उद्गीताक्षराणि
अक्षराणि
उपासीत उद्गीत इति प्राणः
उपासीत
उपासीत उद्गीत इति
प्राणः
प्राणः
एव उत्प्राणेन
एव
एव
उत्प्राणेन
उत्प्राणेन
ह्युत्तिष्ठति वाग्यीः
ह्युत्तिष्ठति वाग्मीः
वाचोह गिर
वाचो
वाचो
गिर
इत्याचक्षते अन्नर्थम्
इत्याचक्षते
इत्याचक्षते अन्नम्
अन्ये हीदं सर्वं स्थितम्
अन्येदं
अन्नेदं
सर्वं
सर्वं
स्थितम्
गौरेव उत् अन्तरिक्षं गीः
द्यौरेव अन्तरिक्षं गीः
पृथ्वीथम्
पृथिवीं
पृथिवीं
आदित्य एव उत् वायुगीः
आदित्य
आदित्य एव उद्वायुगीः
अग्निस्थम्
अग्निस्थं
सामवेद एव उत् यजुर्वेदो गीः
सामवेद
सामवेद
यजुर्वेदोऽधीः
यजुर्वेदो गीः
ऋग्वेदस्थम्
ऋग्वेदस्थं
दुग्धैस्मै वाग्दोहम्
दुग्धैस्मै
दुग्धेऽस्मै वाग्दोहम्
वाग्दोऽहम्
यो वाचो दोहः
यो
यो
वाचो
वाचो दोहः
अन्नवानन्नादो भवति
अन्नवानं
अन्नवानन्नादो भवति
य एतन्येवं विद्वान्
य एतान्येवं
एतान्येवं
विद्वान्
उद्गीताक्षराणि उपासते
गीताक्षराणि उपासते आयसते
उद्गीत इति.
उद्गीत इति
So here another upasana is there. So you know that Omkara has 3 alphabets, right? What are they?
अ उ म
Ma,
Akanta Ukaranta.
Akara, Ukara, Makara, right?
Makara. Yeah.
Similarly, Udgita has three alphabets. What are they? He gives in this mantra. Ut, Gi, and Tham. So Ut, Gi, Tham. Ut, Gi, and Tham. So there are three alphabets in Udgita, and in each of these what do you call alphabets, Ut, Gi, and Tham, they will be taken as alambanam one by one, and then devatas are to be invoked. So three devatas are to be invoked on these three alambanams, and there are in these mantras there are four upasanas mentioned, and therefore you have each upasana three alphabets Ut, Gi, Tham. One devata each. So each upasana consists of three alphabets and three devatas, four upasanas, therefore 12 devatas in total. And taken together, these four upasanas make one real upasana. The subsidiary upasanas are there, parts of the upasanas. Four of them are there. You put them together and you have one major upasana. Okay. So in the first upasana, there are three devatas. So I'm just rushing through them. I'll just give the names of devatas and the symbols. Prana is invoked on Ut. Vak is invoked on Ghee. And Annam is invoked on Tham. That is the first upasana. Prana on Ut, Vak on Ghee, Annam on Tham. Anna Devata on Tham. So the first three devatas are Prana Devata, Vak Devata, and Anna Devata. They are invoked on the three symbols, three alphabets. In the second upasana, the devatas are Svargalokaha, Bhuvarlokaha, and Bhulokaha. Svargaloka being invoked on Ut, Bhurloka on Ni, and Bhuloka on Tham. Similarly, Surya Devata on Ut, Vayu Devata on Gi, and Agni Devata on Tham. And the last set, Samaveda Devata on Ut, Yajurveda Devata on Vak, and Rigveda Devata on Tham. These are the 12 sets, right? Now, Shankara in his commentary makes only one point. He tries to justify why is it that the particular order of devatas is chosen, right? So he says Ut stands for that which is at the highest level. Gi stands for that which is in the middle, and Tham stands for the lower one, the Adhisthana. And therefore, each of the choices are agreed upon, are good. So Samaveda, Yajurveda, and Rigveda. Right? Again, for this upasana, the mantra does not give the phalam, nor the Shankara. So we take it as generation of punyam. And generation of punyam, depending on your sankalpa, can be taken as swarga, loka as the phalam also. Okay. Any questions so far? These are just various upasanas as mentioned. As I said before, they are not very relevant, especially for advanced Vedantics. You should just be knowing what they are. Okay. Now we go back to the next mantras, which is set of four now. Mantra 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. No, set of 12, five mantras. Okay. So let us read, starting from mantra number 8. अथ खलु आशीः समृद्धिः
अथ खलु
खलु आशीः समृद्धिः
उपसरणानि
Pasarnani
उपसरणानि
इत्युपासीत येन साम्ना
Upasitena sanana
स्तोषयन् स्तोषयन् स्यात्
Toshayan
तोषयन् स्यात्
तत्साम उपधावेत्
Tatasama
तत्सामोपधावेत्
Dhavet
यस्यां रचितां रचम्
यस्यामृतामृतम्
यदार्षेयं तं ऋषिम्
यदा
तं
सेयं तं ऋषिम्
यां देवताम् अभिष्टो यशन्
याम
देवतामभिष्टो
देवतामभिष्टो
यस्यात्
यां देवताम् अभिष्टो यशन् स्यात्
याम
देवतामभिष्टो
देवतामभिष्टो
यस्यात्
यशिष्ट्या स्याताम्
देवतामुपधावेत्
भवेत्
धावेत्
येन छन्दसा स्तोषयन् स्यात्
येन
येन
छन्दसा
छन्दसा
स्यात्
स्यात्
छन्द उपधावेत्
छंद
छन्द
उपधावेत्
उपधावेत्
येन स्तोमेन स्तोषयन्मानः
येन सोमेन
येन स्तोमः
स्तुमानः
तं स्तोमम् उपधावेत्
स्यातं
स्यात्
भवेत्
यां दिशम् अभिष्टो यस्यन् स्यात्
यां
अभिष्टो
दिशमभिष्टोष्यात्
तां दिशम् उपधावेत्
तां
याम
दिशामुपधावेत्
दिशमुपधावेत्
आत्मानम् अन्तत उपसृत्य
आत्मानम्
आत्मानम्
अन्तत
स्तुवीत कामं ध्यानन् प्रमत्तोऽभ्यासो ह यतस्मै स कामः
प्रमत्तोऽभ्यासो
प्रमत्तोऽभ्यासो ह यदस्मै स कामः
तदा
प्रमत्तोऽभ्यासो
कामः
यदस्मै स कामः
समृद्धेत यत्कामः
समृद्धेत
समः
यत्कामः
स्तुवितेति यत्कामः
स्तुवीतेति यत्कामः
स्तुवितेति
स्तुवितेति
स्तुवीतेति
another upasana, not exactly Udgita upasana, but in these upasanas you will find that various devatas are being invoked for getting various phalam using Samaveda mantras. Okay, so this is upasana for getting what you want. Kama Purti upasana, for fulfilling your desires. And before a person begins such a upasana, begins the chanting, he is supposed to meditate upon certain factors in the mantra. And once this meditation is done, and then only if the mantra is chanted, the mantra will give the phalam. That is why it is upasana. It is not plain chanting. You have to meditate upon certain things and then chant the mantra. The upasana plus the chanting, then only the mantra will give phalam. So what are those factors? So there are 9 mentioned. Upadhavet. Upadhavet means meditate upon, right? To meditate upon. First is Upadhavet. That's not one of the factors. Upadhavet means he has to meditate upon. And then there are 9 factors. What are they? Samaha, the mantra itself. Then Stomaha. So if you remember, I mentioned in the very beginning class that some mantras go in groups, a group of 5, group of 7, group of 21, etc. Each of these group is called as Stomaha. So the first factor is the Samaha, the mantra itself. The second factor is the group to which the mantra belongs, the Stomaha. The third is the Rik mantra. Why Rik mantra? Because all Sama mantras are based on Rik mantra alone. And when you say Gayatri Udgita, when you say Sama Udgita, you also have to remember that the original is Rik Omkara. When you say Gayatri Samaha, there is a similar mantra in Rig Veda called Gayatri Rik. Okay, so that also you have to remember. So meditation is 1 on the mantra, 2 on the sthoma, the group, 3 on the original Rik mantra, which is the basis of the Sama mantra, then you may know the rest. The fourth is a Rishi who came up with that mantra. Fifth is the Chandaha. Sixth is the Devata. Seventh is the Dik, the direction. Because the Devata is to be present in a particular direction, right? And therefore, you will find that when mantras are chanted, the priest should turn towards the direction in which the Devata is supposed to be sitting. For example, Yama. Yamraj is in the south, right? If you're chanting for Yamraj, you should turn to the south because you're supposed to turn and face the Devata. That's the seventh one. The eighth is the Upasaka himself, referred to in the mantra as Atmana. And the ninth one is the Kamaha, the desire. What is it that you want to fulfill from your chanting? And after thinking of all these factors, after meditating upon these nine factors, Upadhavet, you have to meditate upon these nine factors. Then you chant the mantra, right? And with this, the third khanda is okay. Any questions? No. I don't expect any because basically they are only rituals. But don't disregard them because you'll if you have to remember these mantras also, because when you come to Brahma Sutra, you'll find that a lot of mantras from this section are also forming part of Brahma Sutra's analysis. That is what makes Chandogya very important. Wherever Brahma Sutra analyzes ritualistic portions, you will find mantras from Chandogya also. So we go to the fourth section, Chaturtha Khandaha. We will first chant mantra number 1 to 5. ओमित्येतदक्षरम् उद्गीतमुपासीत
ओमित्येतदक्षरम् उद्गीतम् उपासीत
ओमितिः उद्गायति
ओमिति उद्गायति
तस्य उपव्याख्यानम्
तस्योपव्याख्यानम्
देवा वै मृत्योर्भिभयत
देवा
वा
वै
वै मृत्योर्बिभ्यत
देवा वै मृत्योर्बिभ्यतः
देवा वै मृत्योर्बिभ्यत
बिभ्यत
ह्रीं विद्यां प्राविशन्
सयीं विद्यां
विद्यां
प्रविशन्
प्रविशन्
ते छन्दोभिरच्छादयत् अछादयन्
ते
छन्दोभिरच्छादयन्
यदेभिरच्छादयन्
यदेभिरच्छादयन्
तच्छन्दसां छन्दस्त्वम्
तच्छन्दसां छन्दस्त्वम्
तानु तत्र मृत्युः
तानु तत्र मृत्युः
यथा मत्स्यमुदके
मत्स्यमुदके
परिपश्येदत् एवम्
परिपश्येदेवम्
परिपश्यत् रुचिसां नियजुषी
परिपश्यन्ति यजुषि
तेनु विदित्वा ऊर्ध्वरचः
तेनो विदित्वा ऊर्ध्वारुचः
साम्नो यजुषः
साम्नो यजुषः
स्वरम् एव प्राविशन्
स्वरमेव प्राविशन्
यदा वा रुचिमाप्नोति
यदा
वा रुचिराप्नोति
ओमित्येव अतिस्वरति
ओमित्यतिस्मरति
एवं साम एवं यजुः
एवं साम
एष उस्वरो यदेतदक्षरम्
स्वरो यदेतदक्षरम्
एतद् अमृतम् अभयम् तत् प्रविश्य देवा अमृता
एतदमृतं भयं देवामृता
अभया अभवन्
अभया अभवन्
You have to pronounce correctly. It is Etad Amritam Abhayam, not Etad Amritam Bhayam. I heard that chant, okay? Etad Amritam Abhayam. Tat
Etat
Pravishya Deva Amrita Abhaya Abhavan. So
एतत्
the break
अमृतम् अभयम्
Abhayam, not Bhayam. It completely
Etat
reverses the meaning.
Amritam. Etat Amritam Abhayam.
Abhayam. If it is Bhayam, then it is completely
The
different.
opposite.
You're praying for something else. Then the last one. Saya etad evam vidvan.
स
स
एतद्
य एतदेवं
Etat
विद्वान्
Devan
Aksharam pnauti.
Vidhan
अक्षरं
अक्षरमिति
नोति
Etadeva aksharakam. Aksharamagam.
Taddevaksharam
एतद्देवाक्षरम्
Swaram amritam abhayam.
Swaram
Swaram
परम्
Amritam
अमृतमभयम्
अभयम्
Pravishati tat pravishya.
Pravishati Tat
प्रविशति
विशति
Pravishya
तत्प्रविश्य
Yadamrita devas tadamrito bhavati.
यदमृता
Yadamrita
देवा
Tadamritamam
तदमृतो
Bhavati.
भवति
The good news is that this five mantras complete the khanda also. Okay.
Mantra.
Very short khanda, five mantras. All deal with again Omkara Upasana or Udgita Upasana. But in this case, the Udgita has two gunas. Omkara has two gunas. And here, in this particular mantra, you will find the name Udgitam is not there. But you will see a word Swaraha. So a special name is given to the Omkara over here. It is called Swaraha. And the two gunas are what? Amritam, Abhayam. Two gunas are there. Amritam, eternal. Abhayam, fearless. These are two gunas given to Omkara here. Omkara is named as Swaraha. The name Omkara is not found. The name Udgita is also not found. So in this mantra, a small story is told. Right? And the Devas were afraid of dying, like everybody. Okay, they also were afraid of dying. And they took refuge in the three Vedas. And the three Vedas were protecting them. And because of this reason alone, we call Chandas. We use the word Chandas when we talk about Veda. The word Chandas normally means what?
the meter.
The meter.
Yeah.
But the word Chandas is derived from the dhatu called Chad. And if you look at the dhatu Patha, Chad avarane, it says, to conceal, to protect. And therefore, that is why, because the Vedas are protecting the persons who take refuge, in this case, the Devatas, avarane conceals them from the enemies. And therefore, the Veda is also called Chandas. And how do the Vedas protect? So, there, Shankara's commentary would read. It says Veda mantras are used in karma, upasana and karma. What arises from chanting the Veda mantras in upasana or karma? It gives punyam. And this punyam will protect. Okay. Then there's another way in which it protects. If you've seen any mantra, a long ritual, for example, you will find that in a major karma, in a major ritual, you will find there are many subsidiary, small sub-rituals or rites. Okay. So sometimes these run for days together. One particular homam will run for days together. And therefore, and you are not supposed to leave the yagashala. Once you go into a ritual, you are not supposed to leave the yagashala. Right? And therefore, we will find normally that when you sit down for a ritual, the priest ties something around a hand, as a yellow thread or a small leaf or something. Essentially, that is meant as your commitment that I will not leave the yagashala before the entire ritual is over. Now, when the ritual is a long one, let's say it's one full day or maybe more than one day, and there are subsidiary rites, you'll have one ritual, then that all the mantras are chanted. That's over. Then the priest goes and prepares, has to prepare for the next ritual, so that some time is lost, right? So in between the two rituals, there are no Vedic mantras being chanted because the first ritual is over, the second one has not started. The Shastra says that when your mind is occupied, you know, you will have distractions and other thoughts can come into your mind. And these evil thoughts are called mrityu. Shastra says when the rituals are being done and one ritual is over and there is some free time, don't go around sitting and gossiping or sitting and talking. Chant some mantras. If nothing else, we can chant Om Namo Narayana. In fact, you will find that whenever with this very long ritual or long yaga, I don't know if you have noticed, some there will be another priest who will be telling you Bhagavatam stories in between the two rituals. That's also there. One ritual is over, and rather than ask you to chant mantras, you all of you go to the place where the priest is, another priest is there. He's telling you stories from the Bhagavad. So in this way, what are you doing? You are keeping your mind occupied and therefore being protected from evil. So these were the ways in which you are to be protected, right? So this in the story, the Veda mantras are used as these two forms of protection. One is by generating the punyam, two is by keeping your mind occupied. Now the story says that these people, these devas, they were afraid of death, right? But even given all these things, chanting mantras and all, it was not sufficient because Yamraj, the persistent sort of fellow, so Yamraj came, right? Now Shruti gives an example. When Yamraj came, Shruti says, this is like a fish moving in shallow water, right? The shallow water of a pond. The fish is in the water, and the fish thinks that because I'm in the water, the fisherman cannot see me. But the water is very shallow, and the fisherman can see the fish. So here the shallow water is compared to the Vedas. The fish is compared to a Deva, and the fisherman is, of course, Lord Yama. Right? And the Devas got desperate. What were they finding out? That in spite of chanting Veda, these Veda chantings, they could not avoid death. What is the idea being conveyed?
No one is immortal, even Devatas.
So, what is being conveyed is that
Anatma is not permanent. It has to go.
that's why I emphasize so much on the Vedic chanting. Vedic chanting belongs to Karma Kanda. Karma Kanda cannot give you immortality. Right? And therefore, these devas finally realized that only by chanting alone, they would not avoid death. And therefore, they came to Omkara Upasana. So they left the shallow waters of Karmakanda and came to the deeper waters of Omkara Upasana. And this Omkara, Swaraha, has two gunas, Amritam, that is being eternal, Nitya, and Abhayam, fearless. As a result of that, the story says they went beyond death. And again, you have to understand that this story properly. When when you say that because of Omkara Upasana, you go beyond death, you have to remember the entire teaching we have got so far. When you go beyond death using Upasana and Karma, what is to be understood?
We have got Jnanam through Upasana.
You
What is the
reach
correct
Brahmaloka.
Brahmasya.
Moksha.
What is the correct word?
Kramamukti.
Kramamukti. So you understand this Kramamukti. And therefore, the phalam is that whoever meditates on Omkara, on the Swaraha, with the gunas of Amritam and Bhayam, will get over fear, will go to Brahmaloka. Lord Brahmaji will teach him. He will get Jivan Mukti. They become immortal. And therefore, Shruti calls Omkara by the name Swaraha. And the word Swaraha comes from the phrase Swarati Ucharayati Sarve. A person utters the Omkara before studying the Veda. Ati Swarati. He chants it very, very loudly. Okay. So we have finished 2 sections today. I don't want to overload you guys, so we should stop here. Next class, we'll do the Panchama Khanda again. 5 mantras there also. Again, having 2 or 3 other upasanas. So it's a completely upasana oriented section. And I would request you to make a summary somewhere. What the upasanas are. Just few notes, not in detail as much as I'm talking, but briefly. That's why I asked somebody, and 2 people, of course, responded and gave the summaries. Very useful. So with this, we'll stop for today. Namadav Namidam Purnat Namuchatate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnam Eva Vasishyate Om Shanti 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 Om Tat Sat Om Namah Shivaya. Thank you for your
Thank
patience.
you, Acharya.
Om